now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. And this code can only be applied to first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but I'm gonna go ahead and create me a quick account and make sure I can go to one of these games that's happening in the NFL season because I gotta go see it live. Anyway, look, so speaking of football games, man, the Jets, they defeated the Texans last night in Thursday Night Football, and they snapped a 5-game losing streak, and it was just an ugly game of football. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish I could tell y'all something different. I wish I could break it down and be like, all right, this is what was great from the New York Jets. This is what was great from the Texans. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This was a terrible game. It wasn't very pleasant to watch, especially in the first half. And I wanted to stop watching it after the first quarter. Truth be told, flag after flag. It was just, the play calling on the Jets end was awful. CJ Stroud had no receivers to throw the ball to. It wasn't a pretty game at all. However, I want to break it down just for a sec because there's a few sectors in this game, that are worth talking about, I should say. The New York Jets offense is completely garbage. Aaron Rodgers has been playing like that old uncle who throw the ball once every family get together. This guy's not good. But starting off with the offense, the Jets offense, I think it's just extremely predictable. That's part of the reason why I'm not excited about watching the Jets at all. And regardless of them getting the win, snapping a 5-game losing streak, a lot of people felt like, oh, this is the game. It's finally turning around. It's promising. It's happening. It's going to change. I disagree with all of that, respectfully, just because, this team showed no flow whatsoever. The second half got a little bit better. They finally started connect on passes. You've seen some big plays from Garrett Wilson, who made that cool one-handed catch. Devontae Adams made a couple of catches too. But above all, it's just the play call that is just shaky all around. And I think it trickles down for everybody on that offense, as talented as they are. But watching Aaron Rodgers go to Devontae Adams 3 straight downs, throwing the ball to him 3 straight downs, regardless of what was happening, is just something I cannot stand by. That's unacceptable to me for a quarterback and a receiver. I get you got the duo who's made things happen in the past, but bro, you got Breece Hall back there. You got Garrett Wilson. I know Lazard was out, but you got plenty of weapons. Even your backup running back, Braylon Allen. You got plenty of weapons to make things happen. So for this offense to lack creativity like it does, it's a little painful. I'm not gonna lie. It's painful to watch the Jets, but above all, like I said, they got the win. And I don't think too many more of them are gonna continue to roll in, especially looking ahead and seeing everybody else they gotta play against. They got the Cardinals, and then after that, they kind of get a little rest week against the Colts, but Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, Rams, Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins again. So, these games here, they've already lost against the bad teams. So I'm doubting they're going to go in and beat some of the elite teams. Granted, they play most of the good teams that they had to already take care of business with, meaning the Vikings and the Bills. But they see the Bills one more time, which is going to be rough. And you just don't know what type of New York Jets offense you're going to get in these type of games. And specifically zoning in on Aaron Rodgers, I got to put a lot of this credit for him because he's changed the organization so much with his moods and the things he's been saying to media. Oh, we don't want the coach. Oh, the guys need to play better. But, bro, at the end of the day, a lot of it is depending on Aaron Rodgers and how good he's going to play. Because throughout this season, you can count on one hand how many times he's had a QBR over 60. And it's not good. They're still losing even if he had a QBR over 60. Like, there's games where, okay, you might look at the stats and you're like, okay, 200 yards, 200 yards, 200 yards. Like, hey, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's doing good. But the things the stats don't show, and what I always talk about when it comes to numbers and, what's going on the stat sheet, is the fact that if you look at the game and you watch the game, not the highlights, if you actually sit there through the full 2 hour and 30 minutes of bad football and watch Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets play, the one thing you will see is him overthrow the ball, overthrow his receivers, and he won't put it there where it needs to be. He's not as quick when evading sacks and getting out the pocket. Granted, the man's 40 years old, so I'm not expecting him to be able to roll out and make these crazy throws on the run. But ultimately, bro, you can't just be sitting in the pocket and be a cone letting the guys come get you, bro. That ain't it. That ain't it. And then when you throw the ball to your guys, you got to make sure you're accurate to them. There's some good throws that we've seen. Of course, some throws is going to always be trending on the internet. And if you watch the highlights, it only looks like there are good throws. But that thing is so deceiving because looking at the game, I seen him at least twice. He overthrew Devontae Adams in the other night. Overthrew Garrett Wilson. There was plenty of passes where it was within, like it would have been a touchdown, would have been a big gain, but the ball just was overthrown slightly. And it happens, but bro, we are in week 9 of the NFL. Come on, man. It can't be happening like that. Can't be happening every single game. I can like cut you some slack if it's once every couple of games, whatever the case is. I can cut you some slack, but bro, nah. We ain't letting that die down. And then quickly too, for the Houston Texans, man, I want to jump on their part because this looks like a completely different team, and not necessarily in a good way from what we've seen last year. Last year, we saw a lot of promise. We saw the consistency rolling toward the end of the season, which very much still may happen. I mean, the Texans aren't bad right now at all. Although they lost, they're still 6-3, first in the AFC South. So this team still has a lot that they're working with right now. However, we've seen a lot of inconsistency within this offense. Granted, the Texans, they have some injuries going on that is obviously hindering them because multiple O-linemen is down. All of the receiver options are just done. So that's going to be a lot more difficult to make the adjustment. So I understand it. I want to cut the Houston Texans some slack, but also this was a team that had a lot of high hopes coming into this year. And again, won 6 games so far, been taking care of business when they need to, but there's still some things that needs to be fixed. One of the things that needs to be fixed, I noticed immediately, got to go to the quarterback play. Quarterback play, CJ Stroud, he hasn't been as consistent as he once was last year in the late half of the season. And one of my theories I have with quarterbacks who are young, early on, obviously it takes time to develop, but he's still figuring it out. Usually when rookies have these incredible first years, people are like, oh, they got to figure it out. He's elite. He's gonna be great in the league. He already got it figured out. He's a rookie and he already killed the league the first season, so he's got it. That's not always the case. Because the more you play in the NFL, the more they're going to have film, the more they're going to be able to figure out your tendencies, the more they're going to be able to scheme and send different pass rushes and all kind of things at you to slow you down. And that's what I've kind of been noticing with CJ Stroud. Because yes, he's been playing good, but also CJ Stroud hasn't been at that MVP level that we once seen him in last year. He's not there so far. Even looking at his numbers, yesterday he had a QBR of 27, correct. He had a QBR of 27 and multiple games where he's had a QBR of 20, but like that just shows the rhythm, the skill, and all of that. Some things are just not clicking on that offense. And granted, it's hard when you have multiple linemen out because it's different. When you got wide receivers who are missing games and stuff, you can kind of find something to help you out and adjust a little bit. Maybe some guy is going to step up when you got wide receivers there. But when you got linemen, that's hard to replace because linemen, they're going to help you run game. They're going to help you pass protections. They're going to help you on a play action. Like it's tough losing linemen. So for the Texans, still in pretty good shape right now. And they can definitely make some things happen still, but just one of the things I seen was the inconsistency. I love that the run game is still staying strong, regardless of being down multiple linemen and being down wide receivers. That run game is clicking on all cylinders, and I think the Texans got to lay on that as much as they can because, man, the run game is saving them right now. Kept them in the game all game against the New York Jets, and I think you could say that same thing in multiple areas in multiple weeks so far in this first half of the season. Defense been a little shaky back and forth, but got some linebackers down, got some defensive linemen that's down as well. So, it's tough, but they're figuring it out, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this too, because we got some voicemail callers coming up. So I'm gonna jump into those. We're gonna take a quick break. Don't miss the voicemail line. So let me go ahead and give some context about the voicemail call. So last week, or earlier this week, actually, that's how soon it was. Earlier this week, I was talking about the Lions. I'm like, hey man, Lions be putting belt to ass. They've been killing everybody, and they're about to become a hated team in the NFL because of the way they've been doing people. Slap up 47 on the Cowboys, 52 on the Tennessee Titans, 40-something on the Seahawks. Like, they've been killing it. Broke it up into a clip, posting on social media. They got a hold of it, whatever. Some people had to comment on my comments on that. So let's do it. We got the voicemail calls in just a sec. We'll be right back. All right, let's get into it, man. We got the voicemails here. Go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. So let's hear what they had to say, man. Some good ones here. So let's do it.
Hi, my name is Danielle, and I just saw
a
video on TikTok about, Lions, we know you're putting belt to ass every Sunday, blah, blah, blah. It's disrespectful or whatever.
It is.
So what? Listen, I'm a Lions fan through and through, but I don't even care. We had like a 0-16 year. And just because we're good now, other people from other teams, fans from other teams, are now mad that we're putting belt to ass and we're being we're like beating ass efficiently every single Sunday. And you guys are calling it disrespectful. Just because we're good doesn't mean you guys can say it's disrespectful, because it's not. We have lost, and we have been the joke of the NFL ever since I can remember. So the Lions can do whatever they want, and they will keep doing it until we go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Stop complaining. I've seen so many people like, Lions fans are annoying now. Lions fans are annoying. We have every single right to be this annoying.
I'm mad at it.
Because we've been the joke of the NFL for decades.
Okay. I'm mad at it.
Done.
Okay. Cool. So, man, okay, first, of course, I appreciate you giving us a call, of course. And then, let me be honest, too, because I've said this. Even in the segment, I said it. Lions been out here putting belt to ass, and as you said, putting belt to ass efficiently, or what was it exactly? Because I loved it. I loved that. That was a good one. You said, man, we know they've been putting belt to ass every week. But either way it goes, I'm okay with the Lions running it up. It's the NFL. They're supposed to smack teams if teams are going to let them put up 50, 55 points, 50 plus points. The Lions are supposed to do that. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're taking out the starters, letting the bench squad run it up. I'm not mad at that. I can't be upset. But truth be told, I'm not going to sit here and tell you no lie. The Lions right now, Lions fans are living every fan's dream. If you're a fan of a sports team, you're a fan of the Patriots, the Falcons, the Green Bay Packers, the Cardinals, you dream of being able to be assholes in the league. So deep down, I'm really just telling you, I am jealous of what Lions fans are getting to experience right now, because it's not fair. I won't even say it's not fair. It's not fun being on the other side of that, watching this team roll efficiently week after week after week after week. It's great. I applaud the Lions. Hell, I want my team to model everything after what they've done. You drafted great in the draft over the past few years. You have people on early contracts that are crazy. You got so many things rolling for the Lions. A solid offensive lineman, great duo in the backfield, all of that. I'm the first to give the Lions their props. Like, I'm not gonna sit here, hey, none of that stuff. I'll be the first one to give them their props. But the thing is, man, Lions have been putting belt to ass, and I'm just saying they are going to become one of the most hated teams in the league as they continue to do this. Yes, they have every right to do it. Hell, they had an 0-16 season. They've been bad for 60 years since they've been in the NFL, since Barry Sanders has been there. They had the 20-year curse, all of that stuff that ended up lasting more than 20 years. So I understand that, hey, the Lions had it, or everybody had it coming. The NFL had it coming. They deserve to get smacked up the same way that's been happening. But, hey, deep down, it comes to one thing. I'm just jealous that my team ain't as good right now. And I'm man enough to admit that. I am self-aware enough to admit I am just upset my team is not that good right now because they've done everything right. But yeah, I mean, people gonna be mad regardless though. People gonna be mad regardless, especially when it comes to the Lions continuing to beat teams time after time. They've already become like a team that's checked on schedules where you want to make sure you can beat the Lions. But I say, look, man, they becoming assholes because now it's like every time we looking at a game and they putting up 50-something points. Oh, it's just like, damn. Like, damn, they like that. I think it's more so a surprise to everybody else. It's like, oh, the Lions like that. Where not only are they going to beat you, they're going to embarrass you. Home or away, they're gonna embarrass you. So that's why I'm like, yeah, it's gonna become to a point where teams are looking at the Lions how they look at the Chiefs, especially if the Lions continue to win in the postseason. If they do end up winning Super Bowls, granted, even if they win more Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls, man, it's gonna get to that point. But between Chiefs fans and between Lions fans, they are living the dream of a fan from a sports team. Chiefs fans are in heaven right now with Patrick Mahomes winning every year, going to the Super Bowl every year. They're spoiled. Young Lions fans are spoiled because they see how good the Lions are. You know, the older Lions fans, you understand, you're embracing it. You're like, all right, hey, my team's finally good. I'm just hoping they continue to stay good and hopefully they show up in the playoffs. Like, hey, so the older Lions fans is there, but above all, Lions fans right now in heaven. So anybody who's not a Chiefs fan, Lions fan, maybe even a Ravens fan, you're hoping to get to that point where you can become the assholes of the NFL. But this is not a problem. I don't want that to be confused at all. This is not a problem that I have with the Lions. Truth be told, I said it, went on the take and I said it there. I'm just jealous of how good these teams are. And down the line, the Lions, if they continue to put belt to ass like this and put belt to ass efficiently, as you mentioned, then hey, they're going to become a hated team. Right now, everybody's happy about it. I'm happy for the Lions that they're kicking butt, finally good. I mean, they're a model franchise of how they rebuilded their franchise over the past 7 years. So, I kudos to them for doing their thing. But just a heads up, down the line, that's when we're going to see the Lions become one of the hated teams in the NFL. That's to clarify on that. But, man, hey, that's amazing, though. That's amazing. I love that take there. And again, thank you for sharing that. We got one more too. So we're going to play his and see what he's talking about. Let's do it.
Listen, Pat, I got to take
what up, though?
On your take on the Detroit Lions. I think if anyone has earned the right to be the asshole of the NFL, it is the Lions. And I cannot wait to watch them continue to put belt to ass to the entire NFL this season. And we will see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Oh, he said y'all go see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Ooh. Okay, so all right, first things first. Yes, they do. They deserve to be smacking everybody the way they are. And again, this is the NFL. So if you're a team and you playing the Lions and you allow them to put up 50 points, that is strictly on you. You should not be that trash. You need to get better. I mean, have a competitive bone in your body to have some pride and not get 50 slapped up on you in the game. I don't think certain teams are expecting that, but you got to realize Lions is on a mission. They're on a revenge tour. They're going hard. They're trying to, they're trying to put up 50 points on you, which they should. I mean, hey, why not? So if I can strike fear in my opponent week after week, why not do that? So I'm not mad at the Lions. I respect that. Let's address these Super Bowl allegations because I think it may possibly happen. Right now, it's clearly evident the Lions are the best team in the NFL, especially when you talk about the conference of the NFC, AFC. Lions are easily the best team in the NFC. They got multiple injuries on both sides of the ball, suspensions on both sides of or on the offensive side, but yet they still look like a strong force and have showed no signs of slowing down. This is huge for them, and I think above all, if they continue to use this momentum, they'll be straight, and they will go to the Super Bowl. But the last team you want to see is the Chiefs. We can all speculate that the Chiefs will probably be there, but that is the last team you want to see, because if you see the Chiefs got the experience. They've been there multiple times, and the Chiefs just might end up three-peating. I'm already on the side saying the Chiefs going to three-peat. But if you're a Lions fan, you better hope you see the Baltimore Ravens. You better hope you see anybody else but the Kansas City Chiefs, because that's, to me, the only real way I see the Lions end up being able to capitalize in the Super Bowl if they go. Experience matters. I know Jared Goff had that Super Bowl experience under his belt, but everybody else do not. The defense, they do not have that experience. The offensive linemen, some of them do, some of them don't. They don't have that experience, though. They got playoff experience, but Chiefs have Super Bowl experience. So if I'm the Lions, I'm hoping they go against any other team in the AFC besides the Kansas City Chiefs. And then for me, that's when I think, okay, all right, Lions about to have a big parade in Detroit, and hey, best believe I will be there. Best believe that. Anyway, look, man, shoot us a quick take. I appreciate you calling too, for leaving that message, but shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. Of course, we'll play your tape back on our next episode. But look, man, we got some news for the run coming up in just a sec, so hang in there, stay tuned. We got some news for the run and also some predictions for week 9 in the NFL, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's halftime. All right, let's get into it, man. News for the run. Let's start off with the World Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers has won the World Series over the New York Yankees. Yankees, man, they kind of just laid down and took the L. I was hoping this series got extended, but man, Dodgers came with it. Shout out to the Dodgers. But also, so just to give you a heads up, Dodgers won the series 4-1. They ended up finishing it out. That last game was a thriller because they came back. Yankees were up 5-0. They were up 5-0. I thought it was done. I'm like, all right, I don't even need to watch it anymore. Yankees should have it under control. And then here comes the Dodgers. Here comes the Dodgers. Grabbing a win, and man, it was remarkable. So above all, congrats to the Dodgers, man. They got it done. They took care of business as they hoped for. And then Freddie Freeman walked away with the World Series MVP trophy. Shout out to him. That man balled out. He did his thing. He had a homer in 6 straight games and pretty much had a solid playoff run this entire time. Another cool stat about the World Series is Will Smith, not the actor, but the baseball player from the Dodgers. This is his 5th World Series in a row, which is just crazy to think about. He's won 5 World Series in a row, going all the way back to 2020. He won with the Dodgers. Then he went to the Braves, won a World Series with the Braves in 2021. 2022, won a World Series with the Astros. 2023 with the Rangers. And now 2024, back again with the Dodgers. This man is a champion. Or you could say other things, but I'm going to just say he's a champion. I'm going to say he's a champion. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to be nice, all of that, whatever. But hey, shout out to Will Smith for doing his thing. Anyway, let's go to some college football because you got a lot of good college football matchups coming up. Some interesting Big Ten matchups. So to kick it off, man, it's about to be a great Big Ten matchup between number 3 team Penn State and number 4 ranked team Ohio State. They're going to be playing against each other, and this game is going to be a home game for Penn State, which is going to be wild, but definitely going to be watching that game. Both of these teams are ranked 3 and 4 right now, so I'm interested to see how that happens. University of Miami, they play Duke University. Duke has actually been fairly solid in the football world. Usually we know them for being a basketball school, but they've kicked it up a notch over the past few years, really since NIL has really happened in college football. So they've been making some things happen. You got Oregon, they play University of Michigan. Georgia, they play Florida. Texas Tech will take on Iowa State. Michigan State will play Indiana. Texas A&M will play South Carolina. Tennessee will play Kentucky. Pittsburgh will play SMU. And then you also too have, let me pull up my Bama boys and see where those guys are. But I'm going to tell you too, there's been some changes in the rankings. Of course, you know, that's expected week after week. So let me just update y'all on that. Last week in the rankings, we seen Oregon at number 1. Georgia was at number 2. Penn State at number 3. Ohio State at number 4. And Georgia at number, oh no, not Georgia. I made that same mistake last time. It was a different team, but it wasn't Georgia. Anyway, it's different now. So just to explain the new rankings and the new teams, that's top 5. You got Oregon, number 1, Georgia, number 2, Penn State at number 3, Ohio State at number 4, and University of Miami at number 5, Texas, number 6. They are 7-1. Miami's 8-0. Oregon is 8-0. Penn State still hasn't lost a game yet, so Ohio State's going to be trying to give them their first loss of the season. BYU is still an undefeated ranked team. Iowa State, Indiana, all of these teams are still undefeated. Pittsburgh still undefeated. Army is an undefeated team. So just to keep an eye out for some of these undefeated teams who are taking care of business in the top AP poll right now. So got to give kudos to them. Anyway, so let's bring over some NFL matchups that I know I'm going to be keeping an eye out for and that I know I'm going to be watching. So obviously we had the New York Jets. They just beat the Texans 21-13. Dallas Cowboys are going to be taking on the Atlanta Falcons, which I'm excited about. I'll explain a little bit more of that later and what I'm expecting in this game. But the Buffalo Bills, they'll play the Miami Dolphins. Bengals versus the Raiders. Chargers versus the Browns. We're going to see if Jameis Winston can pick up another dub with the Cleveland Browns. Patriots versus the Titans. Probably will not watch that game, but I mentioned it anyway. Commanders versus Giants. I may have to check Jaden Daniels out once again. But then you got the Ravens versus the Broncos. A lot of people have been asleep on the Broncos because of the rookie quarterback, but the Broncos had the same record as the Baltimore Ravens. As dominant as the Ravens has looked at times, the Broncos still have the same record, which is 5-3. So sitting in really, really good shape. The Cardinals play the Chicago Bears. That's going to be interesting. The main game I'm definitely going to be taking a look at here is the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. Going to be a great game. And then the Rams versus the Seahawks. We got a lot of division matchups going on this week in the NFL, but I guess it's that time because we hit, the mid-season point. Trade deadline is happening next week, and hey, teams are trying to make it happen. So it's cool. So some division play, and we'll see who's kind of getting ready to, be the leaders of their division and possibly take a commanding front in their division. So. But anyway, look, so I got a prediction here because there's a team, my Atlanta Falcons, they play the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm anticipating this matchup, and I'm hoping the Atlanta Falcons win. I kind of see every game that they're playing right now as a must-win game, and I know that's a little dramatic, but no, man, I really say it's a must-win just because, right now, we know in the division of the NFC South, Falcons pretty much have control. They already beat the Saints. They beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Buccaneers twice, as a matter of fact. Panthers aren't really anybody to worry about. So it's like a clear, run for the Atlanta Falcons to take care of business. However, Dallas is one of those teams where you really don't know what to expect on a weekly basis. They may be really good. They may be really bad. You really don't know. And as far as the Falcons, so far from up to week 9, I've kind of seen that same type of situation where they might be really, really good or they might be really, really bad. You just really don't know yet. With the offense, thankfully, we've seen them click a little bit and get better and better each week. But as the offense has continued to get better, the defense has regressed. So that's the only thing that does concern me, is because now the offense seems like they're rolling, but we've seen them take steps back in the season. We've seen them go on a road and lose. We've seen them lose at home, which is just the one thing that you really, really don't want to do. But yet they somehow continue to find ways to play their worst football at home. I don't understand it. They played the Seahawks. They were at home against the Seahawks. They lost that game. Kansas City Chiefs was a good game. It was early on in the season. Same for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I'm not going to elaborate too much on that. But obviously, still some injuries that they're fighting through. Missing some linebackers, missing a defensive tackle. You got some questionable linebackers still. Not sure if Troy Anderson is going to play, but I think if he does, it could be a huge help. Obviously, because getting Troy Anderson is getting a person who can hunt down on a run. And when I say hunt down, I mean he go get the quick screen passes. He go get the outside runs. He's gonna wreak havoc. He's gonna mess some things up at linebacker and stop the run. A lot of people don't really like the way he drops back in his pass protections, but I think that's just a kind of picky type of thing that people are choosing and picking on him about. And when they say he's not good at covering the pass, we've seen him cover the pass multiple times when he was healthy so far this season, and he did a great job at it. Hell of a job, as a matter of fact. And I just immediately think of that Saints game when they played, and I mean, that's a team where I thought they were going to get picked apart by the pass, but no, actually he made a huge play, got some interceptions, was just in the mix a lot, and ultimately helped the Falcons defense. But this is the main concern for me coming into this game against the Cowboys is the defense. Jimmy Lake has said, hey, there's nothing to worry about. He said the Falcons are going to continue to get better and better on the defensive end. This is how things go during the season. But bro, I can't stress it enough. It's week 8. It's week 8 in the NFL, and the defense still looks shaky. The better the offense has gotten, the defense has looked worse and worse and worse. And I know there's some injuries too, because we don't have our other safety, Justin Simmons right now, who's he's still going through his injury things. But above all, they got to get it together. Like, I'm not afraid of Dak Prescott, but the last thing I want to do is get beat by the Cowboys. That's the last thing I want to do. But they need to win this game, man. I say it's kind of a must win, just because right now, 5-3, you want to get as far away from 500 as you can in the win column. But right now, you play the Cowboys, and then you have another game after that against the New Orleans Saints. And you're going to be in New Orleans, but I know the Saints haven't been pretty good, but still, man, it's a rivalry. It's a divisional game. You just never know how it's going to turn out, and you're going to be on the road. So you just got to take care of business and try and be as consistent as possible. You still got the Vikings headed up in the schedule. So other than the Cowboys and the Vikings, these are the two games where I'm like, it's circled and like, hey, some things, it's a possible L. It's a possible L. But this just, the reason I say it's a must win, because you don't want to end up dropping your guard against these teams who are supposed to win. Sometimes these L's happen against teams where they're just playing the best football of their life against you, and you don't want that to be the case after you're already done had 2 L's that set you back. So you go against a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, and all of a sudden Justin Herbert is like, oh, I found the rhythm, I'm turning into Pat Mahomes. Then, it's just tragic. That's another L you got to put in the loss column, and that's bringing you closer to 500 in a bad way. So I just say all that to say, man, hey, Atlanta Falcons got to go ahead and get this dub. Them boys got to win. And another team too, the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be an outstanding game. I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, I think I'm going to go with the Lions to win this game, man. Like I said, Lions, best team in football right now. This team is unshakable. They lost multiple people on defense, on the defensive line. You have half of the star guys who's supposed to be on that defensive line not playing, but yet the Lions has still looked like juggernauts. Nobody is going to be able to keep up with the Detroit Lions in scoring the ball, and that's going to be the biggest thing, because although, the Packers might have Jordan Love playing, I don't think Jordan Love is going to be able to keep up with the Lions offense. I don't think he can put points on the board in a hurry like the Lions can if they need to. I'm predicting the Lions to end up smacking the Packers, and this is going to be the thing that turns my take into gold, because I've said the Lions are going to end up becoming assholes. Every team has that. Once they start off, they're bad, and teams are happy they're winning. But how happy are you going to be when you play the Lions all the time and they're smacking your team every single year? 4 consecutive years in a row, they're beating your team by 34 points. How happy are you going to be then? Because that's what we're heading to. And I think that's what we're going to get a glimpse of in this matchup against the Packers. Packers, they got a solid defense too. But I think Jordan Love, he's been on a turnover run in these past few games. And I don't think he's going to have enough to really break down the Lions defense. Like Jordan Love, they already mentioned he hasn't been practicing, and he just decided he is gonna actually play in the game come Sunday. But no, I don't think it's gonna be good. So far, 6 interceptions at home. The game is in Green Bay, which puts Detroit at a huge advantage. But every game that he's played so far this season, he's thrown at least 1 interception. So I think you cannot give the Lions extra possessions. You continue to give them extra possessions, they're going to score. They're going to run it up. So, hey, I'm going with the Lions to win this. I think they got it all under control. And ultimately, above all, I think the Lions end up winning this game by like 24. Yeah, it's that simple. I know it sounds brutal, but big rivalry game, big division game. Lions not playing no games. This is the best team in football, and I'm not ashamed to say it at all. I'll be honest about it. Any day, anytime. Just let me know. All right, look, man. Hey, shoot us a quick take. 219-413-9405. Leave a quick take, and of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. Other than that, man, look, I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I appreciate you for kicking it, especially if you listen to the long episodes. If you listen to the little sections of the episodes too, that's cool. I ain't mad about it. I'm just glad you be tuning in, tapping in with me, to chop it up about sports. But I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. Sometimes you just, I love to leave on a positive note. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Sometimes you just gotta find a bright side of the situation. Whatever it is, how dark it may look, doesn't matter. Sometimes you gotta find a bright side. There's always a bright side, regardless of what it is. You get hit by a car and you can't walk away, at least you're still breathing. You trip and fall in public, at least you can get back up and keep walking. So there's always some sort of bright side. So I'm gonna just leave y'all with that positive message to always try and find a bright side regardless of the situation. And just try and stay positive out there. But go ahead and spread that positivity to somebody you know, man. And also to spread this podcast episode. Send this to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, a friend, anyone you know who will enjoy sports, especially if I talked about their team, their player, or their region. But other than that, I'm gonna leave y'all, and I'll be back later on next week. I will see y'all later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.